We're back here on Overtime on WOTM. Let's shift gears back to football, but to college football. We'll start with Jacksonville State playing in the regular season. Lost their first game of the spring. They're now 7-2 overall when you add those non-conference games in the fall. Mark, 6 turnovers, 18 penalties in a 13-10 loss to Austin Peay. How damaging is this, and do you expect the Gamecocks to bounce back?
Yeah, well, I think, I don't know about winning their conference anymore, but they should be able to get an at-large bid. 259 offensive yards. It's the second lowest on the year for them. Only 111 receiving yards, which was the lowest. And you could have off games, but the 6 turnovers and the 18 penalties, that's really what will drive coaches to drink. So I think that's probably what they're more concerned about moving forward, is how to clean those things up.
You have 2 road games, one at Eastern Illinois and then at Murray State. You figure that Murray State game, if JSU and Murray State both take care of business this week, that'll be the game that I think a lot of people have their eye on in the OVC, because remember, this year's field in the FCS playoffs a lot smaller, so you have to add the automatic qualifier in order to be able to get in and then maybe cross your fingers about an at-large bid. I think JSU's resume is good enough to, even if they win this week and then lose to Murray State, they might still be able to get in.
Yeah,
you don't want to leave it in the hands of the committee, though.
No.
We've seen that in college basketball.
No.
Don't leave it in the hands of the committee.
No.
Get the job done. JSU, meanwhile, in the national polls, dropping from number 7 in the nation down to number 12 in the country. Now, JSU did play poorly on Sunday, but they had a chance to win. And after reviewing the tape, head coach John Gross and his media availability today said that he's really positive about his team as they move forward.
Everything you look back on film is very correctable, that we can get better at. And it's not just one guy, everybody's going to say, hey, it's quarterback, but it's, a little bit of quarterback, it's a little bit of O-line, it's a little bit of just different things at different times that are easy correctable. And, Zion tell you, he didn't play his best game for sure. So we got to get this one behind us, look to move forward. Go play a EIU team that everybody's going to look at the record and go, okay, well, this will be an easy bounce back week. No, you're on a short week. You got a flight. You got to go up there and you got to play, and you're playing against a team that is building and getting better.
We talked about the busy week over in Tuscaloosa. Head coach Nick Saban trying to do one job, sell his players to the NFL at the pro days, and also he's trying to coach up his team for this year. The 2021 season is just around the corner. Meanwhile, practice number 6 now in the books for the Crimson Tide. I know we don't get a bunch of information. They keep that in-house as far as depth chart, everything else goes. But in your opinion, what does this Alabama team need to work on with so many guys, as we talked about earlier, going off to the next level?
Well, look, I think that you've gotten used to Alabama putting up a lot of points on offense. I think that now with the kind of an unknown quotient at quarterback, you kind of knew what Mac Jones was going to give you this year. This is the first time they've come into a season not knowing you're going to have a quarterback that can produce a set amount of yards or set amount of touchdowns, or how comfortable he is with the offense. That's still a little bit of an unknown. But you look at a lot of people complained that Alabama's defense took a step back in the years 2018, 2019, even 2020. But again, their offense was so dynamic that there weren't many 12, 13 play drives. It was kind of short drives, which the defense would be on the field more. So that led to them being susceptible to allow more big plays and things like that. Hopefully we can get back to Alabama's defense being more of a factor than their offense have been these last couple of years. I think that's what we'll see out of the team next year.
Yeah, I think they really rely on their defense a little bit more than they have in years past. And even Nick Saban has talked about this. He has said that defenses play differently now because a bunch of teams are now going spread. You are on the field a little bit shorter because your offense is out there, and if they can score, it's great if you put 3 touchdowns. Now your defense is taking a 3-touchdown lead. However, that just means more snaps, and it's not uncommon to have a defense play 80, 90, 100 snaps in a football game, and Alabama was like that last year. And I think you just have to be good on the back end, and they lose some of those players on the back end, but they have a very, very talented core that's coming back. And you talk about a guy like Malachi Moore and some other big-time corners that I think that will do well for Alabama and kind of keep the defense will keep at bay as the offense tries to find its rhythm and make a splash here. Head coach Nick Saban addressed the media today after their practice and talked about what he wants to see out of spring practice. Keyword, discipline.
I think, one of the big goals in spring practice is, to establish some of the intangible things that are really important, I think, to having a successful team. The work ethic with the players has been good in the off-season. The work ethic in the practices so far has been good. But also developing a kind of discipline, on your team, whether it's self-discipline, individuals making, good choices and decisions about what they do and what they don't do, because I think that's important to being able to play with discipline on the field, because you're a disciplined person. You're a disciplined person when you get up at 8 o'clock in the morning. You make good choices and decisions as a person, as a student, and as a player.
Meanwhile, Alabama's 8A game is coming up on April 17th. The game kicks off at noon. You can catch that on ESPN. Well, coming up next here on Overtime, we will close up shop with a great way to help out the victims of the recent tornadoes here in the state of Alabama.